Good morning, everyone. James Moffett here, coming to you live from Duck Ditch, USA. Goose Creek, USA. Today it's raining outside, a little bit cool. 11:14 a.m. This is like video number 4 or 5. I've lost track. I want to focus more on consistency and just getting the videos created. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and watching. Do me a favor if you're watching this, like it, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I promise you that I'll do everything I can to educate you, keep you informed, and maybe even make you laugh every once in a while. You might even cry. Who knows? But anyhow, I gave the Dave Letterman show, "This guest does not require an introduction," or something like that. I overdosed on it the other day or other evening. I started watching at 5 o'clock and I didn't end until about 10:30, quarter to 11. So I was kind of overdosing on it. And she had several really interesting guests. And anyway, last night I decided not to watch that and do something different. Screen time. How much time do we spend on our screens? Whether it be our computer screens, our cell phone screens, tablets, or TV. We spend a lot of time in front of screens. And if you're a parent, you are aware of that. And you're probably aware that a lot of screen time is not healthy. Now, when I was a young pup, no, I'm not going to tell you about how many times I had to walk uphill in 6 feet of snow to get to school, because I didn't. I did walk to school a lot. But when I was a pup, we didn't have internet. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have tablets. We didn't have computers. We did have a television set. And my parents, as I have said in previous videos, YouTube videos, I've said that my parents regulated how much screen time I was enabled to do or allowed to do. And Saturday mornings, when the Super Friends cartoons were online, or on the TV, we could eat breakfast, and if our chores were done, we could go sit in front of the TV and watch cartoons for 2 or 3 hours. I have fond memories of doing that, both at my parents' house as well as relatives. Anyway, fast forward to the 2000. Well, we're in 2026 now, but for the last couple of decades, technology has just quadrupled, and we have more and more things at our fingertips than ever before. We have entertainment, we have education, we have apps like Snapchat and YouTube, TikTok, all sorts of apps, Facebook, all sorts of social media applications that we use to connect with one another. And we love to, I don't, but I know lots of people that do, sit in front of their smartphones and just scroll and scroll and scroll TikTok and Pinterest and Snapchat and Facebook and YouTube and all these different social media applications. Pinterest, did I say Pinterest? I have a Pinterest account. I've got an account on all of these applications, and I'm very familiar with them. And because I'm an IT specialist, and I've been doing that for 30 years, I'm probably more adept and in tune with technology compared to some of my senior citizens my age in their 60s. I'm 64, just turned 64 in November. And I know several people that are my age that could care less about computers or social media or any of that. They're just sort of anti-technology, or they're just not interested in it. They haven't had to use it all their lives, really, other than maybe a little bit at their workplace. And so they don't really care about it too much. And so I try to limit my time in front of the screen as much as possible. I say that while I'm sitting here talking to you on this YouTube video, right? So anyway, I like to read, and I read books. Amazon has, hold on. Yes, my wife is coming in. Okay, leave it in the living room. No, you're fine. Say hi to everybody. Hi, everybody. That's Katie. That's Roxy. Come here, Roxy. Roxy, come here, Roxy. Yeah, come here, Roxy. This is Roxy. Roxy, she's 6 years old. You're being shy. Anyway, she's being shy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. She won't jump up. Oh, there she is. There she is. See, my name is Roxy. I'm shy. I'm camera shy. Yes, I am. All right. Yeah, that's all right. I need to get a box to put on the outside of the thing to let you know I'm online. Yeah. So anyway, that's fine. This is real life, right? Right? No? Yes? Maybe? But anyway, that was my wife of 35 years, and I love her so much. And we got an Amazon package, and she was coming in here to tell me that. I need to get one of those on-air boxes that I can put outside my office door, that lets her know that I'm online, and that way she'll know not to come in here. But anyway, that's Katie. You got to meet her. You got to meet one of my dogs, Roxy. She's a 6-year-old lab. She is a mess. And when she gets in trouble, or she perceives that my tone of voice changes and then I'm angry with her about something, she'll do that with her teeth, and she'll grin at me. And if you don't know her, you might think that she's fixing to growl at you or snarl at you, showing her teeth like that, but she's really just grinning at you. And it's kind of cute. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, screen time. Yeah, lots and lots of screen time is not good. And I was telling you, one of the things I like to do, even if it's on my iPad, I like to look at, I read books. I read books all the time. Katie reads books all the time. When I was a child, my mom used to take us to the Greenville County Library because Quinlan was too small. It was too small of a rural town. They didn't have a library. They didn't have a Walmart. They had a Save-A-Lot, something like that. It wasn't called Save-A-Lot, Save Mart or something like that. It had in the name, it had Save something. But anyway, my mother took us to the library, and I would check out 20 books. My mother would check out 20 books, and my sister would check out 20 books, and we had 14 days to read them. Well, my mother and I would read our books, and then we would swap them at about day 7 or 8, and then we would read each other's books. So that was like, I don't know, every 2 weeks I read about 30, 35 books. And so that was 30, 60, 90, 120 books or more that I would read during the summertime. Now, all my friends from school, they were going to Lake Tawakoni and having a good time and having beer parties and swimming in the lake and diving and doing all sorts of stuff, which was fun, which I kind of wished I'd have been able to join in on that fun. But my parents said, no, you're not doing that. We're going to we're going to pay attention to what you're doing and control your environment so you'll stay out of trouble. So in retrospect, hindsight's 2020. So I'm thankful for that. I'm glad they uh, didn't allow me to kill myself or get into trouble with the law or wind up in a hospital or any of that sort of thing. So screen time. I keep coming back to that because that's what this video is all about. How much screen time are we spending? How much screen time is good for us? How much screen time is bad for us? So let me close my email because it keeps dinging every time I get a new email. So I watched a Netflix special called The Social Dilemma last night. It's not that I was or am unaware of the things that they were saying. I'm kind of like you and everybody else. I just consume a lot of social media and I like to connect with other people. That's what I'm doing now, is I'm connecting with you, right? So here's some key phrases from The Social Dilemma. Foundational quotes. These are the lines that became cultural shorthand for the documentary's message. If you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. Let me say that again. If you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. Well, guess what? We don't pay for Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or any of those, Pinterest. All those apps are for free. All you have to do is log on and create a user ID and a password, and off to the races you go. So if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. Well, how are we the product? Well, they're selling our data, and they are paying attention to every single picture and advertisement that we click on so that they can sell us something, so they can cause us to spend our hard-earned money to the advertisers that are paying to have their ads put in front of our eyeballs, right? So there's that. Tristan Harris repeats this throughout the film. It's the thesis statement of the entire documentary. If you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. How do you wake up from the matrix when you don't know you're in the matrix? One of the preview reels that they showed while they were talking was Jim Carrey in the Truman Show. Do you remember that movie, The Truman Show? Google it, look it up, and watch it. And The Truman Show is about Jim Carrey. He plays the part of a citizen in this little town, and he did not realize this, but he was in a programmed environment where the little town that he lived in, the shops, the citizens, the people that he lived around and with, his girlfriend, wife, the lake. He actually was out on the lake in a boat, and he accidentally ran into the edge of the of the bubble that he was in. The whole town and the lake and everything in it was, including the people, were pre-programmed, and he couldn't leave. Nobody could leave. They were all trapped in the Truman Show, and the show shows you how he came to that realization and how he reacted. That's all I'm going to tell you about it. I told you way too much as it is, but look it up. The Truman Show with Jim Carrey. How do you wake up from the Matrix when you don't know you're in the Matrix? Good question. We've created a system that biases towards false information because false information makes the companies more money than the truth. False information makes the companies, advertisers, more money than the truth. Quotes about the attention economy. Justin Rosenstein, I've butchered his last name, Rosenstein, reflections are some of the most powerful in the film. We live in a world in which a tree is worth more dead than alive. A whale is worth more dead than alive. Now, we're the tree, we're the whale. Our attention can be mined. Now, in The Social Dilemma, the Netflix special I'm talking to you about, they had ex or previous CEOs and computer scientists and program directors from Google, Facebook, Pinterest, several big tech companies. These were people that used to work within those organizations. So they're kind of whistleblowers, not necessarily whistleblowers about the companies they worked in because they're all social media conglomerates, but they were being a whistleblower about the negative effects of too much screen time and too much social media and how our attention's being mined and how we are being manipulated. Well, that can't be true. We're not being manipulated. We have free will. We can just click on and scroll to our heart's delight. Well, there's more about that later. We are more profitable to a corporation if we're staring at a screen than if we're living our life in a rich way. We are more profitable to a corporation if we're staring at a screen than if we're living our life in a rich way. So, what does that mean? That means that companies that pay their advertisers, Best Buy, Walmart, Toys R Us, Bed Bath and Beyond, any store that you can think about, did I say Walmart? Think of the stores that you shop in, right? Grocery stores, retail stores, big box stores, Costco, BJ's Wholesale in Somerville if you're here in the Charleston area, many Neiman Marcus, many retail outlets, more than you can shake a stick at. If you go to Tanger Outlet here in Charleston area, there's, I don't know, hundreds of stores in Tanger Outlet. So all those businesses, how do they get our attention? Well, they advertise on social media because that's the best bang for their buck. Sure, they can advertise in print, magazines, newspapers, on the side of the cart of buses, public transportation. All the personal injury lawyers like to put their faces on the side of a public transportation so that if you're involved in a car wreck, you can call whoever. Morgan and Morgan's one of the big ones here in the United States. But yeah, we're talking about companies that are desperately seeking your attention, and one of the ways they do that is by paying for advertising on billboards and print advertisement and social media. One that comes to my mind, one of the biggest events here in the United States is the Super Bowl. Advertisers pay buku bucks, millions of dollars for a 60-second ad in the Super Bowl. You can Google it for yourself, but just look up Super Bowl ads and how much they cost. They're way, way enormously, exponentially, they are expensive. If you think about Christmas time and you think about one of my favorite ads is the Coca-Cola ads. They have the Clydesdale horses. They have the Coca-Cola trucks driving down Main Street and the bright lit town square and the song. And I love the Coca-Cola commercials. Now, do I drink Coca-Cola? No. Maybe Coca-Cola Cherry from time to time. I like to drink Dr. Pepper Cherry and Pepsi Cherry. But talking about advertisements, we all have our favorite advertisements, right? One of the advertisements that I don't see on TV anymore was about privacy, or they called it privacy. And they were talking about privacy, and they had this guy that was taking a bath in a tub, and he had a curtain that he would pull while he was taking his bath. You could hear him saying in the background, "I need my privacy." It was so funny. Most commercials are just disgusting and monotonous, and you just get tired of them. Drug companies, oh my gosh. I want to say drug company commercials probably take up 65, 70% of all advertisement on TV and cable. The next highest one would be, oh, car commercials. Everybody needs a new car. Everybody must have a new car. I don't know how many people are in the Charleston area or the Low Country or all over any city in the world, but there's thousands and millions of people that have income, and I guess they just figure that the only way they're going to sell another new car during the day is to advertise, advertise, advertise. And wow, how sick of that am I? Especially the drug commercials. And I could have a whole video about that. And maybe I will. Maybe I will do that. Just stay tuned. I'll talk about that too. We're more profitable to a corporation if we're staring at a screen than if we're living our life in a rich way. So, what can we do? How do we live our life in a rich way? By getting away from the screens. Read a book. I love hardback books. I got tons of them. I have a library full of books, and I love to read books. I was thinking go see a movie, but that's screen time as well, and they have advertisement on that, so that's out. Go to the lake. I like to go into my happy place, which is the Bettis Boat Landing here in North Charleston, and it's behind Trident Technical College, and you can drive in there and you can park, and there are several walk-up access points where you can go sit and just watch nature. And I like to do photography, and so I'll go take pictures of brown pelicans and egrets and wildlife in the Low Country, in our wildlife areas, lakes and tributaries and rivers and such as that. There's bald eagles and lots of brown pelicans, and I like to take pictures of them as they dive bomb for fish. I got a lot of nice photos of wildlife. And I love to do that. And guess what? While I'm taking photographs of wildlife, I'm not looking at my screen. My phone is muted, and I don't look at it unless I need to check Facebook. I have to see if I have any notifications, right? Yeah, I'm guilty. I'm as guilty about social media and screen time as the next person, I suppose. But for the most part, photography and writing, and podcasting and writing, I write on a computer. I write on Medium and Substack. So that is an activity that I am performing where I am not scrolling mindlessly on social media. So it's still screen time, but at least it's productive screen time. We are more profitable to a corporation if we're staring at a screen than if we're living our life in a rich way. Go bowling, go walk in the park. What other activities are there that you can do that doesn't include screen time? Go shopping. Spend some of that hard earned money on things that you saw during the advertisements that you watched. You see something and you're like, I've got to have that. No, we don't have to have it. We think we have to have it because we've been programmed to think that we have to have it. No, we don't. All right, let's see. Quotes about manipulation and culture. These are good. These lines capture the film's critique of how digital platforms shape society. We've created a world in which online connection has become primary, and the only way it's financed is through a sneaky third person who's paying to manipulate those two people. Say that again. We've created a world in which online connection has become primary, and the only way it's financed is through a sneaky third person advertisement and all of these social media companies that are pulling our strings. A sneaky third person who's paying to manipulate those two people. We've put deceit and sneakiness at the absolute center of everything we do. Your brain is not wired to fight this. And they showed a scene last night during this Netflix special where this mother, or the mom, was at the supper table, and dad was there and three children, and she had a lock box, a plexiglass lock box that had a timer on it, and everybody put their phones. She said, no screen time during supper. We're going to talk about our lives and what's going on in our day, blah, blah, blah. And so let me have your phone. So dad gave it up. Everybody was kind of making snarky remarks, but they gave their phone up, and she put it in the plexiglass container, and she set the timer for 60 minutes and put it on the island in the kitchen and said, okay, in 60 minutes you can have your phones back, but until then we're going to eat supper and enjoy it, and we're going to talk to one another. Well, there was a lot of awkward silences during that period of time. Everybody didn't know what to do because they're so used to staring at their phones, scrolling TikTok and Facebook and all these Pinterest and Instagram and all these social media apps that we just have to have now. We're programmed to have to pay attention to them because we want that connectivity with other people, right? No, not necessarily. We think that's what we need. That's what we've been programmed to think that we need. So the scene devolves, and one of the young girls, one of the teenagers, winds up getting a meat cleaver out of the kitchen and breaks the plexiglass and gets her phone. And of course, in the course of doing that, she shatters a screen on her brother's phone, and he's all upset about it. And everybody leaves the table and gets their devices. And the mom tells her son, she says, "If you do without that phone for 1 week, I'll repair that phone. I'll get you a new screen for it. 1 week, 7 days. You can't have your phone for 7 days. If you can do that, then I'll pay for your phone to get fixed." He's like, "Really?" She was like, "Yeah." He lasted all of not even 24 hours. Before you know it, he was downstairs at the refrigerator, and a notification came through on his phone that was sitting on the counter plugged in. It went blip, blip, blip. And he looked over at it, looked at the staircase, wondered if anybody was awake or around. Guess what? Yep, he unplugged that phone and took it upstairs, and he scrolled mindlessly until it was time to go to school. And of course, at some point, he passed out and he was tired and couldn't function, and he was just totally addicted to it. Anyway, yeah. Uh, Quotes about manipulation and culture. These lines capture the film's critique of how digital platforms shape society. We've created a world in which online connection has become primary, and the only way it's financed is through the sneaky third person who's paying to manipulate those two people. I've already said that, but it bears to hear it again. We put deceit and sneakiness at the absolute center of everything we do. Your brain is not wired to fight this. It's a race to the bottom of the brainstem. We're all being manipulated. So one of the computer scientists was talking about dopamine and dopamine hits and how we uh, are looking for the next dopamine hit, and that's why we are. It's like a drug. That's why we endlessly scroll from one TikTok video to the next to find whatever pleasure we're seeking. Right. And on my parenting podcast, I had several people. We talked about dopamine and how it affects our behavior and our lives. Quote about optimism and critique. A quieter but memorable line. It's the critics who are the true optimists. It's the critics who are the true optimists. So I have a whole lot of information about screen time, social media, how we're being programmed, yada, yada, yada. And I see that I'm at 28 minutes already, and I want to put a pin in it, as I like to say at this point. Maybe tomorrow I'll finish sharing the rest of this information from about the social dilemma of AI and big tech because of the Netflix special that I watched, which was called The Social Dilemma, right? So I hope everybody has a good day. If you're watching this video, like it, put a comment, tell me how you feel about it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I also have a poll on my YouTube channel asking about how do you like consuming content on YouTube? Do you like long form videos like this one, or do you like short reels, magic clips, or do you like a combination of both? If you'll go down to that poll and respond to it, I'd appreciate it. If you go to paypal.me/James Moffat, you can help support this channel by making a small donation. Doesn't have to be a lot. Every small donation adds up. What am I going to use that donation for, you might ask? I'm going to use that donation to help pay for the subscriptions that I pay for this YouTube channel and for my podcasts. And I'm also going to use part of it for buying backpacks and non-perishable food and items for homeless people here in my area. I would love to be able to get 5 or 6, 10 backpacks and fill it with New Testaments and non-perishable foods and wet wipes and a blanket, things like that. And they're medium-sized backpacks, and you can put a lot of stuff in them. And I go to Walmart, where I used to work security in North Charleston, 7400 Rivers Avenue. There's a little tent city in the woods behind Walmart, and they come out of there to go use the restroom and charge their cell phones and get something to eat. Sometimes they're a nuisance. Sometimes they show their butt a little bit. And that's what security is there for, is to help them get back into line or escort them off the property. But for the most part, there are 2 or 3 people that are sheltered in place. In other words, they live in their cars or vans. They don't bother anybody. And I have my friend Mary that I'll tell you about. She's 66 years old, and she has a shopping cart with all her belongings. She has a small luggage underneath the shopping cart where she keeps her clothes and stuff. And then she has Walmart bags on the top with, again, her stuff. All her worldly belongings are in a shopping cart. If you can imagine that, I can relate to it because I told you the story yesterday of me living under a bridge in Houston, Texas with garbage bags with my clothes and belongings in there. So, been there, done that. And I'm not blind to that and I'm not desensitized to it like a lot of people are. So, anyway, today is Saturday. Get away from your screens. Go do something that doesn't have anything to do with social media. It's okay to have a smartphone. Put it in your pocket. Use it as a telephone. If you need to call your friends and family, pick up the phone and call them. Don't always depend on social media apps to connect with people. There's a time and place for that. I know that social media is great for connecting friends and family that don't live in the same city as you, right? When there's a natural disaster, I hope you didn't hear that, but my somebody's texting me and my phone's dinging at me going, "Hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me." And I'm like, "No, shut up." But I like during natural disasters, there's services that are set up by Google or Facebook or whoever to where you can check in and say, I'm safe. I'm checking in safe from the hurricane or from the volcano or the forest fire or whatever. That's a very positive, constructive use of social media. That's good. But there are lots of negatives, and we'll get into that more tomorrow. All right. So, everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.